Hello dear viewers, in today's story, CEO James bravely faces pain and danger to search for Deep, the woman he loves deeply, who went missing in the dense forest after being chased by enemies. A precious clue, Deep's torn scarf has brought him closer to the truth, but his fears grow as he uncovers the dark plot of John, who ordered Deep abandoned as bait to destroy him. Meanwhile, James's mother, with boundless love, becomes a powerful source of encouragement, while the shadow of a mysterious figure continues to lurk, threatening to separate them forever. The story closes with a fragile hope as James vows to fight to the end, ready to confront his enemies to save Deep, while justice quietly draws near. If you enjoy stories filled with drama and emotion, please subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications to not miss the next thrilling episodes. Thank you for joining us. James awoke with a violent start, his chest heaving as the lingering echoes of a nightmare gripped him. Deep's face, pale and pleading, seared into his mind like a brand of torment. Sweat beaded on his forehead, his heart pounding a frantic rhythm as the vision of her in danger clawed at his sanity. A gnawing dread consumed him, an instinct screaming that something was horribly wrong. He snatched his phone, fingers trembling as he dialed her number, each unanswered ring a stab to his soul. "Deep, please pick up," he whispered, his voice a fragile thread of hope unraveling into despair. The silence that followed was a void, a cruel confirmation of his worst fears. Unable to bear the weight of inaction, he leapt from his bed, throwing on clothes with reckless haste, his determination a blazing torch against the encroaching darkness. "I'll find you, Deep, no matter the cost," he vowed, storming out into the fading afternoon, his love for her a compass guiding him through the storm. Meanwhile, fate dealt a cruel twist as a young woman named Diane, a 27-year-old with a spirit as wild as the terrain she'd fallen into, lay bruised and battered in a sterile hospital room. Paramedics had plucked her from the icy grip of a rushing stream where she tumbled, her memory a foggy haze. She groaned, her voice weak as she confided to a nurse, "I didn't see the drop, I slipped. My family, I can't place them." The news rippled to James, a desperate glimmer of hope flaring as police escorted him to her bedside. "Is this the Deep you've been searching for?" an officer asked, his tone cautious. James leaned close, his eyes tracing her features, but the spark of recognition faded into disappointment. "No, it's not her," he murmured, his voice heavy with regret. "Thank you for the effort, but I can't stop now." With a nod of gratitude he turned away, the sting of false hope a bitter fuel driving him back into the hunt, his resolve hardening with every step. In a shadowy underworld, the air thickened with malice as crime lord John, a figure cloaked in greed and vengeance, hunched over a burner phone, his voice a venomous snarl to his trembling henchmen. "We're escalating, lure that traitor John into a trap. Help me crush him, and I'll carve your sentences down or erase them entirely. Imagine it, freedom, and his lucrative turf as your kingdom." He detailed a fiendish plan. Stage a counterfeit deal for a fresh batch of merchandise, then pounce when John arrived unsuspecting. His two lieutenants, their faces etched with dread, exchanged furtive glances, their voices quaking. "He's a monster, we could end up dead," one rasped, his fear palpable. The other nodded, sweat beading on his brow. "His wrath is legendary." But John's promise gleamed like a siren's call. "Betray him and you'll inherit his empire," he purred, his eyes glinting with sadistic delight. After a tense pause, their ambition overpowered their terror, and they nodded, sealing a pact that would unleash havoc, their hearts pounding with the thrill of treachery. Back on his mission, James crossed paths with Tan, his steadfast ally, whose grim expression mirrored the weight of their failure. "Any trace of Deep?" James demanded, his voice taut with urgency. Tan shook his head, his tone heavy. "We've unleashed tracker dogs and swelled the search party to the brim, combing every inch, but she's vanished like a wraith. Not a footprint, not a whisper." James's heart plummeted, but he refused to surrender. "Expand the net. Alert every village nearby. Offer a reward if needed. Anyone with a shred of information. Tell them to contact the police immediately." His voice broke with desperation. "I can't lose her, Tan, she's my world." Tan clasped his shoulder, dispatching the orders with a solemn nod, leaving James to grapple with a fear that threatened to consume him, his every breath a prayer for her safety. His quest darkened as he sought an older brother figure, a man whose words struck like a thunderbolt. "Deep's vanishing isn't chance," the man revealed, his voice a low growl of concern. "I saw it." Masked figures chased her into the forest right after her shift ended. "I've hounded every old contact, begging for leads, but they're stone cold. The police sent dogs, but the trail evaporated. She might have bolted deep, lost in that unforgiving wilderness." James's eyes flooded with tears, his voice a shattered plea. "She ran because of me. My family's power games dragged her into this nightmare. I'll never forgive myself." Pain carved deep lines into his face as he vowed, "I'm heading into that forest, following her escape route. I won't stop until she's in my arms." Later, a fleeting distraction pulled James into a work obligation, where a vivacious woman joined him, her laughter a temporary balm. "This is exhilarating," she chirped, her eyes sparkling with delight as they navigated a task together. But Deep's absence haunted him, and soon he resumed his odyssey with renewed vigor. He roamed the outskirts, thrusting Deep's photo at wary villagers, his voice raw with hope. "Have you seen her? Please, any sign." Each shake of a head was a hammer blow, yet he pressed on, his persistence a flickering flame against the encroaching despair. Driven by a love that refused to be extinguished, every step a testament to his unbreakable bond with Deep. James's torment swelled as the afternoon waned, the dream of Deep's anguished face replaying like a relentless tormentor, her silence a deafening scream in his mind. He dialed her number again, each unanswered call a fresh wound, the void where her voice should be an abyss of despair. Despite rallying the police and unleashing tracker dogs to sweep the region, extending the search to neighboring hamlets with relentless precision, the emptiness where Deep should be remained a cruel enigma. "She slipped beyond every reach," he murmured, his voice a hollow echo of a man teetering on the brink of collapse, his heart a battlefield of hope and horror. A shocking revelation erupted when the police summoned James, the captain's face a mask of grim determination. "We've shackled John," he declared, his voice cutting through the tension. "But he insists he didn't kidnap Deep. Claims he hired thugs to herd her into some forsaken corner, then lost her trail. She vanished from his control." James's blood turned to ice, his mind spiraling into chaos. If he didn't take her, then what hell has she endured? Where is she now? The uncertainty was a tormentor, twisting his gut with every unanswered question, his love for Deep a fragile shield against the mounting dread. The drama reached a fever pitch as John, ensnared by his own hubris, stumbled into the police's lethal trap. Lured by his treacherous lieutenants to a dilapidated shack for the staged deal, he swaggered in, a suitcase of illicit goods clutched like a king's scepter, his arrogance blinding him to the doom awaiting. The moment he crossed the threshold, Police erupted from the shadows, their shouts a thunderclap of justice. "John, your reign ends here. Hands up!" Cuffs clashed like the crack of doom as they seized him and the damning evidence. His roars of defiance swallowed by the dust. His turncoat henchmen, now reveling in their betrayal, watched with cold satisfaction as his empire crumbled, their pact with John's downfall sealed in blood and greed. Overwhelmed by grief, James retreated to a sacred spot rich with memories of deep, a quiet glade where they'd once woven dreams under the stars. Tears streamed down his face as he sank to his knees, his voice a broken lament. "Deep, I failed you. This chaos, my family's ruthless fight for power and wealth, dragged you into this abyss. I should have shielded you from their venom." His sobs reverberated, a man shattered by guilt and love. His mother appeared, her presence a gentle tide against his storm. "James, my precious son, love transcends riches. It's not your cross to bear. Deep's a beacon of strength, adept in the wild. She's alive, I know it deep in my soul. Trust the police's relentless hunt. Don't let guilt devour your spirit." Her words were a lifeline, but James's voice cracked with raw pain. "If I lose her, I'm a shell. How do I face tomorrow without her light?" He lingered, clutching the memory of her laughter, while his mother sighed, heading home to prepare a meal, her faith a quiet fortress against his despair. As dusk deepened, a rustle in the undergrowth near James snapped him alert. A fleeting shadow darted, vanishing before he could pursue. His heart leapt into his throat. "Deep, is that you?" he called, his voice a desperate plea. The silence mocked him, but a faint scent, her perfume lingered, igniting a flicker of hope. He scoured the area, finding a torn scrap of her scarf snagged on a thorn, his fingers trembling as he held it. "She was here," he whispered, tears mingling with determination. Yet a chilling thought struck. Had John's men left this as bait? He alerted Ton, who arrived with a flashlight, his face grim. "We'll comb this area tonight. Don't lose hope." The forest held its breath, a predator's lair teeming with secrets, leaving James torn between salvation and a looming trap. The evening draped the land in a somber shroud as James remained rooted in their cherished glade, his eyes scanning the twilight for any whisper of deep. The police's latest report was a dagger to his heart. No fresh leads, John's confession a dead end swallowed by the forest depths. "She's out there, alone in that merciless wild," he whispered, his voice a raw wound, his love for her a tether to a sanity fraying at the edges. His mother's words echoed like a distant prayer, but doubt gnawed at him. Could Deep's skills withstand the forest's wrath, or had she fallen to its perils? A sudden call from the captain shattered his reverie, his voice a thunderclap of urgency. "James, we've cracked a coded message. John's crew plan to abandon Deep in the forest as bait to draw you out. It's a setup, and they're still lurking, hungry for your ruin." Rage ignited in James's chest, a wildfire of vengeance. "They'll pay for every tear. I'll hunt them to the ends of the earth and bring Deep back." The captain's tone hardened. "We're mobilizing every resource, but they're cornered and dangerous. Keep your guard ironclad." James clenched his fists, his resolve a forged blade, vowing to turn their trap into his triumph. As night deepened, a faint sound, a rustle then a pained moan, pierced the stillness, jolting James to his feet. "Deep!" he shouted, his heart racing as he sprinted toward the noise. He stumbled upon a tattered scarf caught on a branch, its fabric unmistakably hers, a relic of her struggle. Hope surged, but a chilling note pinned to it drained his blood. She's ours unless you surrender your empire. James's cry echoed through the trees. You cowards won't win. He alerted the police, who arrived with tracker dogs. Their barks a chorus of renewed search, the night alive with frantic energy. Back home, his mother knelt in prayer, her voice a whisper against the storm. Guard her, bring my son peace. James stood vigil, the scarf pressed to his chest, his tears a silent vow of retribution. A shadowy figure watched from the tree-lean, a phone pressed to their ear. He's taken the bait, move in at dawn, they ordered, their plot a coiled serpent. A second note slid into view, its message a venomous promise. Your love dies tomorrow, watch her bleed. James snatched it, his resolve a blazing inferno. They've awakened a storm, he growled, rallying Ton and the police for a dawn assault. The night pulsed with electric tension.
They talked of how they met and what their life had been like. And I could tell by her stories and the warmth of her tone of voice that she, too, had a happy marriage. Then it was my turn, and all I could do was cry as I told the story of my own husband's battle with cancer and chronic pain. As unquote, I'm used to asking people what they have learned from their experiences, so it was natural for me to ask her for advice on what happened her deal with the crushing grief. Obviously, she has been doing something right to be so full of vitality and joy after such a short time. She described it, her travels around the world with sparkling eyes, and her plans for the next year with a joyful smile.